Hey everybody, Andy here, helping you build a career you love. Thursday live office hours, glad to have you with me. Got a great one for you today on 12, count them 12, recruitment, lies, myths, mayhem, all kinds of crap you wish you knew. So I'm gonna run through all of it. Actually, it's really more than 12, but I'm gonna go through a whole bunch of things I want you to know and a whole bunch of things I want you to do about these truths. I speak the truth today. So hopefully you'll enjoy this. I think it will shed a lot of light on things that are usually very confusing in the overall recruiting, hiring, interviewing. We're gonna cover it all today. So if you're here with me live, get in the chat, say hi, let me know who you are, let me know where you're from, let me know what you do, let me know what you need. Put some question marks in front of those questions so I can find them. So when we're done with the package, we can go to the Q&A. I got a little something extra special today too about something I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I'm going to fill you in on that too at the end. But great to see everybody. Everything looks good. I got a green connection, so I'm going to go. All right, what's this all about? Well, in the interviewing process, in the hiring process, overall job search stuff, executive recruiters, corporate recruiters, there's a lot of questions that I get week in, week out, day in, day out, from job seekers wondering what's up. So I got 12 little beauties. This is gonna be this is what it is. Here's what you can do about it. I got pink cards today because I was feeling kind of colorful. All right, here we go. This first one's like a 3 or 4 bagger right all together. But here's the first one. You got some mystery people in the process. I'm gonna tell you who they are. We're going to talk about what happens when things change, when companies change priorities and database padding. So let's hit a few. I wanted to take the first one as questions that I get a lot about. Andy, why am I getting ghosted? Why did somebody contact me on LinkedIn and I responded back very nicely and they never got back to me? All of that good stuff. Okay, so I want a couple things. Let's talk about when somebody reaches out to you initially. So here you are, minding your own business, stalking who's looking at your LinkedIn profile, and you get this nice little LinkedIn message. It could be from an executive recruiter, so a third-party search firm person, or it could be from a corporate recruiter, right? Hey, I'm Kara, I work at Mile Walk, I'm the corporate recruiter, we're looking to hire somebody, kind of thing. All right, now, one of the things you gotta know is a lot of companies use researchers. Researchers are not the recruiters. There are people who look over the internets all over the place, usually LinkedIn, and they try to find people whose backgrounds look like individuals that they would like to hire or their clients would like to hire or their company would like to hire for particular positions. Now, the researchers, as you can imagine, are not as skilled at looking at profiles as a recruiter or an executive recruiter might be. And so what they do is they go through, they get a job description, they look for some keywords, they do some searching on LinkedIn, they send you a message and they say, hey, Henry, we've got this great opportunity over at my company. Would you be interested in talking? And then Henry gets all excited, starts doing backflips, immediately sends a message back and says, yes, I'd be happy to go and interview with you. And then Henry doesn't hear anything. And then Henry comes to my live office hour show and he's like, Andy, why did I get ghosted? Well, here's likely what happened. Well, here's one or two scenarios. The little researcher thought your background was okay, sent you a message, and even if she or he was not certain, it's better for them to send it and see what happens and get your reaction. Then you got back to her, she turned to the corporate recruiter and says, hey, I got this guy Henry, and the corporate recruiter looked at your background and said, he doesn't fit my position, so don't respond to him, okay? That's one scenario. Another scenario that you cannot control is they might have had other candidates in the process that are now engaged, and that recruiter has got to move on to another position, in which case they're not sure what they want to do with Henry, and even though Henry's interested, they don't want to, upset the apple cart because they have candidates that are moving through the pipeline. Okay, so that could happen. Now, we've worked for organizations, and when I say we worked for organizations, I mean Mile Walk, my executive search firm, has done executive recruitment for companies I could think of one immediately comes to mind. They had a 4-person recruitment staff, corporate recruiters, and each one of those recruiters had a researcher that was doing these things. So this is quite a common occurrence, and it's especially common in executive recruiting. And what's happening with you is you're seeing an inbound message that's likely coming from the recruiter's account, not the researcher's account. And the reason they do that is because they know you're going to look at the profile of the person who sent you the message, and you're going to get all excited and think, oh my goodness, that's a corporate recruiter who's recruiting for the sales positions. Or that's an executive recruiter who looks like he's got a lot of great clients. And you hustle back to them, and those kind of things can happen. So the researcher, really isn't equipped. Maybe, and it doesn't mean anything's wrong with your profile. It's just that maybe that didn't match exactly what they needed or what the recruiter was looking for. Maybe the priorities changed, but I'm telling you that there are a lot of people out there that you don't really know are operating accounts for people you think you're interacting with. Okay, I don't know what they call that, like on like in it was a catfishing or something like that, in just a terrible sense on some of these sites when people do that. But that's actually what's happening in most cases. Now, the database padding part. If you get an executive recruiter who reaches out to you, and you are getting back to that person, and that person is then going to have a conversation with you and asks you up front, or says to you, hey, in order for me to proceed with you, I'd like to get some references for you. Under no circumstances should you ever give them references, because at that point, all they're doing is they're padding their database with other people that they likely will call and try to recruit. So I just want you to know, these things occur up front. It becomes very difficult for you to know what's happening. But the one thing that I want you to do in these cases is I do want you to respond when you get inquiries like this. But the thing I would really like for you to do is to not worry and think I'm getting ghosted, think my profile sucks, think why doesn't anybody love me? You have absolutely no idea what's going on behind the scenes in these situations. All right, so that's number one. All right, this is the real thing here. All right, this really, really happens. Okay, number two. Let's call this one the Abandoned ATS and doing it backwards. How are we doing? Can my team give me a shout like everything is going pretty good? All right, the Abandoned ATS and doing it backwards. What do I mean? Do you know how I sit here every week? Forget that. I sit here every day, and you guys ask me, Andy, what's a good percentage match in job scan? And I want to put my resume in the applicant tracking system, and I put it in 400 different places, and nobody's getting back to me. And Andy sits here and he tells you, well, you only got really tiny, itty bitty, like super nano microscopic possibility of getting seen. That's true. But you know what else I don't know that I've ever told you that's actually true? Is that a lot of companies don't look at any of the ATS submissions at all. Zero, never look. Okay, legit, never look. Here's what I can tell you. This is a stat that might make you cry. MileWalk, executive search firm again, MileWalk has worked for more than 200 companies. Okay, and in those companies, we've recruited for a variety of positions, different levels, different size companies, and I would say conservatively that over 50% of them did not what we call farm the ATS, meaning applications are going in and half of the companies aren't even looking at any of the applications coming in. And they usually do that for a couple of reasons, why they're not paying attention to what's going inside the applicant tracking system. Because most companies have been conditioned to see and discover that it's better for them to go out and try to deliberately recruit individuals that they would like based on profiles they have set up, and that the pool of candidates is bigger if they can reach out to individuals, and that the pool of candidates is much smaller if they're only looking at their applicant tracking system. And what makes it even worse for them is most of the people who submit their resumes into the applicant tracking systems are not qualified for those particular positions. So the employers get bummed out. They burn a lot of time looking through a lot of resumes, if they even bother, recognizing that there's not a lot of qualified people for what they're looking for or what they truly want. So they do a couple of things. Either they have recruiters who are looking and reaching out. I worked with one organization that had an 8 recruiter staff for an organization within the Chicagoland area that only had 100 people in the Chicago office. So they would constantly be building relationships, and they didn't pay any attention to any of the applicant tracking system submissions. They did everything proactively, and additionally, they would supplement that with hiring executive recruiting firms like MileWalk or others with particular niches or sweet spots to recruit the individuals that they wanted, mostly at the senior level, but even at the mid levels if they needed a lot of them and they were difficult to find. So a lot of times you're submitting your resume and no one is looking, and you're wondering, well, I'm qualified. Why am I not even getting, I scored super high on JobScan. I'm really a fit. A lot of times they're not looking at all. And I bet you I can get a holler here in the chat for a bunch of people who, you went in through a boss hunting technique that I've given you, or you've gone in through an employee referral, you've gone into the process, maybe had a phone screen, a text screen, or something like that. And then the employer says, hey, would you mind putting your resume into the applicant tracking system for us? We need it, for legal reasons and all that good stuff. So that's a lot of times what's happening. So that's even further diluting your ability to be seen. It's pretty common. It's pretty common. So I want you to know that. All right, number 3. It only took me one take to get this card. Okay, this is what the world looks like. There are always jobs, and most of them you don't see. This is what you think the pool of open jobs is, and this over here is the reality of how many jobs are actually available. 80% or nearabouts of job openings are not publicized. What do I mean? A lot of times companies will hire on the sly. They will hire. They don't want to advertise because they want to reach out, especially for niche positions, okay? The other thing is that you have to realize this, that even if a company doesn't hire to grow, 1,000-person company with a 10% turnover annually, that's 10, right? 10 for 100, that's 100 positions a year that they have to hire for because people leave, or they want to replace them, or they want to upgrade their team members. Okay, so and then start adding zeros on those numbers. So a lot of times companies are hiring and replacing people, or adding additional positions that they don't always advertise. There's not a rule that you have to advertise an open position. There are some legalities in some situations, but a lot of companies hire without publicizing their positions. So, much like I yell in the recruiter's ears and employer's ears, don't just farm your applicant tracking system because your candidate pool is so small, because then it's only limited to active candidates who are seeking you out. Go out after everybody in the world. What do I always say to the job seeker? Don't limit yourself to open job positions and what you can see that's available. You're only limiting yourself to what you're seeing on the internets, right? So go after any company you want, right? Companies go after any person they want. You should do the same thing. Okay. All right. Now, I burned this one early. Number 4. Number 4. Recruiters will tell you anything you want to know, but you have not, because you asked not. Okay? You don't have we got any Bible lovers? James 4:2, right? There are no secrets. I'll tell you what you want to know. Just ask me. Okay? Honest to goodness. Now, I've given you a lot of questions to ask recruiters in your upfront screens, But if I was given my choice of priorities and I only had 20 seconds to ask a recruiter my questions, how long has the position been open? How many people have you interviewed for this position for its lifetime? How many are still alive? Where did they come from? Right? Are there any internal candidates? Why isn't the position filled yet? What is the date by which you need somebody to start? What happens if somebody does not start on that date? Those are my 8. Okay, so are you getting that information? Are you getting that information? Think about what that will do for you. Andy, they're not getting back to me. They haven't responded quickly. Did you ask them when they had to fill the position? When does somebody need to start? What was the impact? We one time had a client, I will never forget this. Had a client, she calls me up. This is a client I love. Calls me up, said, Andy, we need some help. We are looking for this architect, and she does one of these, boom, on the phone, like, I'm sorry I didn't call you 2 months ago. 3 months we've been looking, can't find anybody. We need you. No problem. First question I asked her, how much money are you losing out on by not having this person? First question. That was, I didn't even ask her what she wanted. How much money are you losing out on? Well, it's a $300 an hour resource that we could be charging. So now it's 3 months you don't have the person. And let's do the fast math, right? $300 an hour, $600 grand a year, $50 grand a month, $2,200 and change a day. $2,200 a day they're not getting because somebody is not in the seat. You think they're motivated? They ended up paying $2,250 for somebody they probably could have gotten for $165,000 or $175,000 on some other given day. Do you think that they actually cared that they paid $50,000 more than they would have hoped they would have paid for somebody where they were losing 50 grand in revenue a month? Glassdoor's not going to tell you what that rate's supposed to be on that given day, right? So you got to do away with market pay. You need to understand motivation. Your actions speak so loudly I can't hear what you're saying, right? They're not getting back to you. Well, did they tell you that this is a real luxury position? We don't really need somebody. It would be nice because we want to expand. Nothing harmful is really happening to us because we don't have somebody in the seat. Or $2,272 a day I do not get. There's a huge difference. You will start to look for the consistencies. Are they operating in a behavior that is consistent with what they tell you? Are you asking the right questions? So make sure you're asking those. Okay, what do we got here? All right, number 5. The salary is not what they tell you up front. They are not actually lying to you. They are telling you what they think they want to pay for the particular job. Or if they're asking you, there's Ginger. If they're asking you what you're expecting, or you say to them what's your budget, and they say the position pays $70,000. All right, I want to give you a quick one here. So every time they say this, or you ask them what the job pays, or it's publicized, heaven forbid, on the job description that says this pays $70,000. That's what they think they can pay for what they think they want done. And every single company, this goes for any position in any company in any country at all times, forever and ever. There's always 2 variables. When at the beginning of the hiring process, the problem the company needs to solve, the problem they have, and who they think can solve it. Okay, the who they think can solve it, they put in their head, this is a job description of the traits of the person and what the person looks like and about how old they are and about how many years of experience and what that experience is and what they've done before and so on and so forth. And for that, I'm either used to paying $70, I think I want to pay $70, I only have $70,000 or whatever. Is okay, now the to-do on your end is, that's fine, and then you need to change not the problem that they have, but in their mind, who they think can solve the problem, that would be you, how you would solve it, even better than they thought, and the value you can contribute, even more than they had hoped for, which is why you're going to cost them $100, not $70. Okay, so you have the whole interview process to change their mind and change their views. And that's a lot of time for you to be able to do that. Okay, but a lot of you throw in the towel because you heard something that threw you off your game or disappointed you right out of the chute. Don't do that. Don't do that. Change their mind if you want it badly enough. Now, like I always say, if you're really busy, you make a ton of money and you like your job, then you don't want to kick the tires, that's fine. But assuming you want to get engaged and you want to get into this, that's what you want to do. All right, next one. I got news for you, and I think a lot of you know this. The most qualified candidate does not always win, and in many cases doesn't even usually win. Okay, so what do I mean here? Well, this is kind of a simple one. You know, I know the boss. I know the boss's boss. I'm dating the whatever. The relationships. I was an employee referral from so and so. True story. My wife, she wants a new car. We talked to a neighbor. Neighbor knows a friend at the dealership who's the owner. Owner says to somebody else, go talk to these people. I didn't have to put a deposit down. I didn't have to put anything down. I didn't have to run anything. Boom, 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 right? Ordered a new car or whatever it was that she wanted. And it's like that in life, right? So remember that. Remember that. And then it comes down to, okay, all things being equal, level playing field. Is your communication better? Can you articulate your fit and value and align it and connect the dots for them based on what they need? And we're going to get into some of these other ones and how to help you do that. So remember that. Here's another one. Do not ever assume that they know who they're looking for. Okay, we know who we're looking for. We know who we seek. Okay, you have not because you ask not. Here's another one for you. Don't assume they actually know, and even if they tell you that they do know, doesn't mean they all think the same thing about what's been defined for who they seek. So one thing that you should be getting up front, aside from those 8 things that I rattled off, are make sure culture is a big thing with companies, and it should be. Okay, are you asking up front? Do you have an internal list of cultural characteristics or corporate tenets or rules you abide by or things you want everybody to know or be or whatever? Do you have something internally? Could you give that to me? If you can't give that to me, can you verbalize that to me? Can you give me those traits? You start with, it's really important for me to join an organization that is culturally aligned. I'm big on culture, and I want to make sure that the way I operate is in tune with the corporate personality, the way the corporation operates. So I would love to see what your tenets are, what your cultural components are, what your characteristics are. And then, okay, what does each one of these mean to you? And then you're continually confirming that along the way with the interviewers to make sure that you are understanding what this particular interviewer thinks entrepreneurial looks like. Okay, what this particular interviewer thinks raising the bar looks like. Okay, customer service looks like. All right, so that's another one. And how about this one? You guys know, I beat the hell out of this one. That they actually know what success looks like. If they don't know what success looks like, I got news for you. You won't know what success looks like. And most of them do not consider success to be defined the same way for your particular position. And you have many people who are contributing to the success of your position, and what your success means to them. So I might be your teammate, I might be your boss, I might be your internal customer, I might be your internal partner, I might be your external customer, and so on and so forth. Each one of those needs to define success for you. You need to look for the congruence across each. Does this one think success looks like this? Does that one think success looks like that? Wait, I'm okay with that even, because what happens? Their own personal needs supersedes the needs of the company. So what do you need to do? Well, number one, you need to make sure you know what they think. And number two, then you need to talk to them about how you are going to make them successful based on their definition of it. Just because Henry over there wants this and Susie over there wants that, right? If you're trying to, give Henry's parameters to Susie, that's not going to work. So you need to make sure that you're being consistent, and you need to ask that question to every interviewer. If you were to hire me, what would you think success would look like? I'm your teammate. I'm your subordinate, I get. Whatever it is. Okay, and then but you know this one already. They don't really know how to evaluate you. Okay, so now when you look at something like this, you've got to ask every person what's important to them, right? The success components, the cultural characteristics. You need to look for consistency, and you need to hammer home how you align to the job description based on their interpretation of the job description. I want to say that again. Not everybody interprets the job the same way. So every time you're going into an interview with someone, you need to make sure that you in some way, shape, or form are getting an understanding from them as to how they view the job description. I'm telling you, they're mostly not trained, right? They get paid to do something else. But a lot of these people get thrown into the interview process because these are the people that are ultimately going to hire you. But since they're not trained interviewers, what do you need to do to combat that? You need to make sure that you're connecting the dots of how you contribute value to the job description, to what success looks like, how you align to the culture, and you need to do that for each one of them. So you need to be hitting them. You need to be looking for the consistency, but you need to be hitting them with your stories that make the most sense for their interpretation of the job itself. And wait, and I got another one here. I got another one here on this. If they don't know how to evaluate you, you have to recognize that human nature will supersede any tactics in doing so. So let me give you a little story here. We had a client, beautiful client, large, super large food and beverage company. Might have been the largest privately held food and beverage company might be the world. And I would work with different units within the company, and I had an HR person that they were like an HR business partner that was responsible for helping to recruit, career development, and all this other good stuff. And inevitably, most of our clients, as we got to work with them, they would all want me to come in and talk to their staff about interviewing. And could you help come in and give us some best practices, maybe tutor some of the interviewers? We were happy to do that because I wanted interviewers who knew how to interview, and I wanted interviewers who knew how to represent their companies and could sell their companies to my job candidates, right? We were all on the same team. And I remember saying this to one of the women, look, we're not going to lobotomize these people in an hour with me or even a day with me, right? So I know it's going to be a work in process, and we're going to try to get them into the right methods, into the right tactics. But you giving each interviewer a bunch of questions that they don't really understand until you can help them understand them, why they're asking them, what they're looking for, and so on, which is where we want to get to. In the absence of that, the fastest way for you to immediately improve your hiring process is you ask the test questions of the interviewer before the interviewer actually starts the interview. So let me be really clear. I'm not talking about you give the questions that you want your interviewers to ask to the job candidates, right? Because they bail on those questions, they don't really understand them. That's even worse. But if you go for example, if you go to the person who's evaluating the teammate, you say to that person, okay, Jack, when you're done interviewing Tammy, I'm going to ask you, is this somebody you want to work with? Is this somebody you feel you can learn from? Is this somebody you would want to teach? And is this somebody that has the right foundational abilities to develop the skills that you have? Or something like that. I'm going to ask you those 4 things, Jack. So when you're done, I'm coming right after you, and I'm going to ask you those 4 questions. And inevitably what happens is, well, that's what he's going to be thinking anyway, except you're polluting his mind with questions he doesn't understand, and he certainly doesn't know how to get the information he needs. Just let him go and have a conversation with that person and tell him what you're going to ask him. And immediately, your focal point gets onto the stuff that you would have evaluated them on anyway. But wouldn't you want to know that as a job candidate? Right? That's how they're going to evaluate. That's what I got to focus on. That's how my story's got to connect with them. By the way, all this stuff is in here, right? This is how those methods are in the hiring processes are designed, and we go into them in detail. So it's maybe a great idea for a lot of you job seekers to read the hiring book, even if you're not in a hiring capacity. So that's another one. And then do not assume ever that they read your resume. I read your resume when I opened it 2 seconds ago. A lot of them are not prepared. A lot of times, that example I just gave you from my food and beverage client, they, I would say to them, no, here's what needs to be prepped, and we would give them preliminary lists of information that we needed them to know in advance. It had to come to them so many days in advance of the interview, and you needed to check with them before to make sure that they reviewed it so that they knew what was what. Most companies won't do that. Okay, most companies are printing your resume, running down the hall, and jumping in the room where you are, or you're coming into their room. And so you're talking to them a lot of times like they read your resume. So not only did they not even skim it, they barely looked at it. So you need to assume that they know nothing about you. Don't say, oh, my name's Jack. No, my name's Jack Anthony. My name's whatever, right? Like you, and I'm a whatever, and I'm here for this position. Don't even assume they know what position you're interviewing for. I mean, I'm not kidding you. Don't even make that assumption. Half the time they don't know. So just remember that. Here's another one. This is kind of a biggie. All right, they're not responding to me after I've gotten into the interview process. Andy, what's the deal? Well, you're waiting, or they're chasing somebody, or they're extending an offer to somebody, and you want to know, when do I throw in the towel? Okay, so couple things here. If they're not responding, it is likely that they're doing one of a couple things. They're probably interviewing other candidates. Now, you would know that if you asked them explicitly, right? What's the landscape look like? Who's going to get back to me? By when? What's typically the next step? Are there any conditionals? Like, are you interviewing other people and you still need to select down the number? Or they're chasing the hiring official or hiring manager, and they don't know when they're going to get back, and they're waiting, and they're not responding to you because they haven't been able to touch down with somebody. Now, will there be any trouble getting in touch with whoever you need to get in touch with before you get back to me in 3 days or a week or 2 weeks or whatever? So that's happening. Or they're extending an offer to somebody else. Now, here's what you should do, although probably this sounds totally odd to you, but if I'm in an interviewing process, I would say, hey, Mr. Recruiter Man, listen, what's the next step? By when's it going to happen? Who's going to contact me? So are there any other, contingencies, variables, and things hanging out there? Well, we're interviewing other candidates, Andy. Great. Is it possible that you would be extending an offer to one of them before you got back to me? Because I want you to know, if that's the case, it's okay. Can you let me know if you extend an offer to somebody else? Because I want you to know that even if it doesn't work out with that person, I would still be open to making this work with you, even if you extended it to somebody else. What does that matter to me? I don't think in terms of second choice, right? God has a plan for me. I'll be where I'm supposed to be. Everything will turn out how you don't have to go in all this, but you get what I'm saying, right? Let them know. They'll tell you, then you'll stop agonizing over what the hell's going on. But that happens a lot. Now what happens? Some of you, I know this because some of you were in my coaching program, and you send me frantic emails at like 11 o'clock one night. You're like, Andy, hang on, I just got an offer, but they told me I have to respond to them tomorrow. Can we have a coaching call at 4:30 in the morning? Because I have to give them an answer by noon. Because they told me that they've got other candidates waiting, and they want to make sure that they have my answer and before they let them go, and so on and so forth. And right? So get the information. What do you care? Let them know. And even if that makes you bummed out and you feel like second fiddle or whatever, who cares? At least you know, right? I want to know. I don't always want to know, but in business, I always want to know, right? Kind of thing. In business, I always want to know. So just think about that. And then how long should you wait until you throw in the towel? If they are not getting back to you, and they said they would in a couple days and it's a couple weeks, or they said a couple weeks and it's been a month, just email them and give them a kiss-off email. Hey, I really enjoyed meeting you. I wanted to check in to see if there was any update. Don't worry, I ain't gonna keep pestering you. Just let me know if anything. And I would mentally have checked out. You're gone, your history. I'm out of here. Okay, so keep that in mind. Number 11 and number 12, people. They expect you to counteroffer their initial offer. I know some of you are going to say, Andy, no, they gave me the offer, told me it was fast and final, and that's that. Employers always hold a little back. Why? Because they want to feel like the good guy. They know you're going to ask, so they want to have a little in reserve that they know they can do. Do you know, we've run surveys over the years, and I've even read other trainers and recruiters' surveys, and this is true. And I remember, this was a few years ago, and the mile walk numbers even is like double this number. But even if you don't know what you're doing, you don't even ask it the right way, you don't flower it up with all the Andy language I give you and all that stuff, and you just say, I want more money. You have an on average statistical chance, if you are a white collar worker, of getting a $5,000 increase bump by just asking, where's my card? You have not, because you ask not. Wait, I'm almost there, right? Even if you didn't know what you were doing. Our statistical, the recruitment firm's statistical number is like over 12 or something like that on average. So some people might not have gotten it, and some people got $50,000 counters. But you gotta ask, they expect it. Okay, so if they don't give you more money, then it could be any one of a number of reasons. Okay, I'm not saying this is always true, but generally speaking, they expect you to counter. So it could be, you know what, you just didn't do that well. It could be that's all the money they have. It's maybe they're nervous. They don't consider you a sure thing. It could be any one of a number of things. They might be at a stage in their evolution where they just don't have the money, or it would really, knuckle down their EBITDA or whatever it is. But they do most of the time expect you to counter. Don't get nervous that you think they're going to rescind the offer. And if something extreme happens, because it will, obviously, statistically, somebody might rescind an offer. They didn't really want you to work there in the first place. Nobody gets offended when you come back and ask for more money. And if they did, those aren't the kind of people you want to work with. That's my view. All right, so I'm not recapping that because that was 36 minutes, and I told myself I could get that thing done in 38. So I am not recapping it, and I'm beating my budget today. So I hope you enjoyed that. Those 12, I know some of you are going to want to loop those 8 questions because I said them super fast. But I hope you enjoyed that. And if you are here with me now, we're gonna go to the Q&A. And if you're watching this on the recording, so long, and I'll see you next week. Now, for those of you guys that are here, I hope you enjoyed that. Can I get a Heidi high? Like, can I get the thumbs up, people? Come on, thumbs up, shares, subscribe to the channel. You know how much it hurts me when you miss my new stuff. I got a good one coming up on Tuesday too. And I think you're gonna like that too. I do want to tell you guys a couple things. I've got a this is kind of the HR myths from. Sorry, I'm adjusting myself here on my Swiss ball. These are kind of little views from the other side of the table. Now, if you are in a hiring capacity. Kara's mentioning it would be interesting to know if there are a lot of HR or hirers here. Couple things. I do want to let you know I have signed 503 of these so far, and I even personally drove the second batch of 200. So I've been signing this book like crazy because these are in my house and I got to get them to the warehouse. And I signed 249, and my wife had an errand to run where the warehouse was near, so I sent her. And then I would sign another round of 254, so now we're up to 503, and the other day I drove them to the I signed them. Now, I'm going to admit, I signed some of them while I was drinking coffee, and I signed some of them while I was drinking wine. I don't know which one you're going to get if you get these. But I drove them to the warehouse myself the other day, and I'm going to be signing 500 or 497 more because I made a commitment to sign 1,000 of these. And I'm going to wean them out to different people, different communities in the Mile Walk Academy universe. But one thing I want to tell you guys, because I haven't really talked about this in a while, but I want to let you know, and I hope you indulge me here for 5 minutes. I have a leadership coaching program where I meet every week with people in my leadership membership. It's like a Netflix. It's like a monthly, except we do it live. It's a monthly session. We meet about every 4 weeks. You get the replays, you get a library, you get assets, you get tons of great stuff. And I want to let you know that tomorrow, June 18th, and I'm talking about hiring. I'm actually going to be talking about hiring. And then July 16th, next month, it's like 4 weeks later, I'm going to be talking about how to build the corporate culture. It's phenomenal sessions if you're in a hiring capacity, and it's really good if you're a job seeker too, because I know a lot of you are job seekers. But the program itself, the whole program, is about personal and career development, high performance, career advancement, leadership. And I want to show you just very quickly where this is. I would love for you to take a peek at it. We have a session tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Daylight Time, same slot as this, and it's tomorrow. And just so you can see where this is, let me show you what's in it. So I usually have a video, which I'll show you where that is, but I have a video of what's coming each month. And then there's a video of the overall program, but just to give you an idea, right, this is about enjoying life, advancing, becoming a leader, and the topics that I teach on: lifestyle and wellness, organization and productivity, success and high performance, communication, building relationships. And if you want, I know it doesn't stand out completely, but if you want to take a look at like the topics and the things that are inside, I've actually shown you some screenshots here of what's inside. So there's focus, energy, designing an essential life, thriving in difficult times, leadership concepts, building confidence, all that good stuff, goals, risk management, building relationships, everything from your brand and networking to building trust, leading people. I've got an entire productivity course inside, which I'll show you, but habit building, prioritizing your day. There's a load about communication, giving speeches, persuasion, listening, and all that good stuff. And then, like I said, in addition to the monthly sessions, I have a $400 Career Accelerator program that's available to any member, no matter what enrollment you're on. You get my productivity course as well. If you're on the annual membership, you also get my goal setting masterclass, and you can learn about those by just taking a peek, and you can kind of see what's inside of each of the bonus courses. And then what I also give people are a detailed workbook. After I give you the recording, you get a workbook that outlines everything that I talk through. So this is a very detailed workbook on personal branding, but you can get an idea of the level of detail and the assets that you walk away with. I have thought provokers that help you groove the lessons. I usually have challenges that help you groove the lesson as well. So, and you can usually get an idea of what's coming. You can check out, I usually do a little sub video here. This is, you can watch for a few minutes and see what I'm doing on hiring tomorrow, but it is really a load of fun. And you can have there's a couple of, actually there's 4 different options really. And folks, it's 81 cents a day if you're on the annual package. I mean, it's really, and you save, half the cost. It's $49 a month on this option. So that's $49 a month. That's anybody who wants to try it out. You pretty much get everything I just showed you, and it's active you get those as long as your membership is active. If you pay $297, so basically half the price, so that's like $24 and change each month, you get some more bonuses. If you are in my job search coaching program, so AKA you are a boot camper, you can enroll on a monthly rate for $39 a month, and we do have a lifetime membership for $2,000 if that's something that's of interest to you. And there's a bunch of extra coaching that goes along with that. So check it out. I really, I absolutely love the program. And tomorrow, actually, you know what? I'm gonna show you. Tomorrow we're gonna be walking through some of this. I don't know if you've actually seen the hiring processes and the mile walk methodology. We're talking a little bit about external factors that act upon a candidate when they are changing jobs. A little bit about the reasoning and some of the things that they do, shouldn't do, and so on. But we're really going to get into the predictors of recruiting and retention success. This is the thrust of what tomorrow's going to be, and you're going to learn about the cultural fit, capabilities. You've probably heard me use these terms in the job seeking mode, track record of achievement, and your skill sets. The center of that ring, every employer should be obsessed about every square, circle, block, or whatever. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. So check it out, and you can cancel at any time. But it really is a lot of fun. So how are we doing here? Can I get a look-see at the chat, or Kara, let me know if there were any things related to the lesson that that I should be hitting on. And I really hope you can join me tomorrow as well. Paridi, the prices, yeah, the prices with the leadership program, the $49 a month it's a steal at $49, and the one thing that's a little different about the leadership program is, and I probably should have mentioned this. I actually interact with you. I could pull you up on the camera and we could actually have an exchange, which we do. So while like on the Thursday live office hours and most of the premium sessions that I have, most of the questions that I take are from the chat. But in the leadership program, it's also a way that I can get to know you a little bit better, and we can go back and forth. And so a lot of the Q&A in the leadership stuff is done live. We do it in Zoom. And the prices are all for tomorrow. You can jump in and I'll tell you. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. The prices are the prices. This program is it's not so deadline driven. It's every single month I get together. I'm not stopping. I've been doing it for 2.5 years now, and there's a lot of assets that are in there, and I want you to have whatever you need to grow your career, and everybody's a little different, and everybody leans on things that, I have things in there that will help you from a personal development standpoint, from a professional development standpoint, and just about every other imaginable thing that goes along with being a great and having a great career. But those prices aren't going to change. It's $39 for my boot campers a month. It's $49 for everybody else. Or $297 annually, or $1997 for life. So you got any questions, you just let us know. Kara can maybe drop the link in the chat. And if there are any leaders, I know I see Tony Proya. If there are any leaders here, you want to share your experience. It's really something. It's really a lot of fun. All right, let me get some questions here. Kara, was there anything else? I saw you were typing, then you stopped. All right, I've got Varun, my Canadian brother who I love. Hey, Andy, how are you? I'm doing great. How do I craft a follow-up email to a country head who forwarded my CV to a hiring manager, and she said that she will look at it? It's been 2 weeks. I'm assuming you mean next week. Next week, the 3rd. Got this using the boss hunting letter, and I don't want to annoy her since she mentioned at the beginning HR will take a look at it. Now, you're welcome, my friend. A couple things here really quick. Here we go. The first thing is, it was a country head who you said transferred your email to a hiring manager. A hiring manager in my mind is different than in HR. So I don't know if you just maybe you meant human resources, because that's a little different. But regardless, I would follow up with her, and that would be that. One time, and I would go on to my next thing. I would not be spending a lot of time. I would simply forward what you initially sent. If you were copied on the email that the country had sent to the hiring manager or to HR, I would take that message, reply and say, I know it's been a few weeks. I just wanted to check in to let you know I'm still interested. Would love to hear from you. That's it. See you later. I'm out of here. That's it. That's all I would say in that case. Nathan, hello, Kara and Andy. Kara gets top billing. You know, I know that. Vibe Hav? Hey, Andy, eagerly waiting to hear live from you. I'm here, my man. Can you please throw some light on how one should answer questions like, what are the biggest professional challenge you faced? Okay. Now, one of the things that I would say here, professional challenge is, I am the type of person, whenever cornered and have to choose something in the negative, meaning a challenge is an obstacle I had to overcome. Now, that's actually a positive because, right, if I want to grow, I have to overcome the challenge. So the biggest professional challenge I faced could be any number of things, but in many cases, when I'm asked about a negative, I answer with an omission, meaning I haven't yet had the opportunity to do this. In this particular case, when they're asking about the biggest professional challenge that you faced, you need to pick something that you overcame, and show how. The best answer is something you overcame, why it changed your life and your attitude about everything else that you do, right? And then how you continually work at it each day. Those are the three magical components in something like that. Okay, so if you asked me, Andy, what was the biggest professional challenge you ever faced? I would say to you, I made a commitment to become a trainer in this format. So I basically stopped what I was doing, not technically, but I decided I was going to stop being a full-time executive recruiter, and I was going to take on becoming a full-time coach and trainer. And in doing so, that was the most difficult challenge that I had to face, because I could list it all out. And the reason that I never quit, and this is the biggest reason why most people don't have what they want in their lives, is because they don't have a powerful enough reason or a why to drive them through the most difficult challenges. And then it becomes a tactical component, except that you making a change in your life. I'm talking about whatever professional challenge this was, because it had to be a change that you overcame. Change is never a function of ability, okay? Ever. Change is a function of emotion and drive and reasons why, okay? So you need to draw the distinction. I will never quit you. Why? Because my reasons are so dialed in that on days I want to cry, I won't, because you need me. I made a commitment. My reasons will trump anything. I will always be able to figure it out given enough time. So you pick something where you can wrap all that together, and that's how I would do it. People, you gotta remember this. And as a total side, change is never a function of ability. Improvement is never a function of ability. It is a function of emotion. Right? It is a function of drive. It is a function of reason. Okay? Given enough time, if your reasons are solid enough, if the necessity is there, you'll do it. If it isn't, you won't. What do I also say to you? Anytime you fail at something or you didn't reach your goal, the only question you need to ask yourself is, what was I unwilling to do? Right? I did not have solid enough reasons that caused me to reach a stopping point. Right? I didn't want to give that up. I didn't want to give up my life of ease. I didn't want to take on the hardship. I was nervous. I didn't want to take the loan out. I didn't want to go into debt. I didn't want to spend the 7 years in school. I didn't want to whatever. There was something that you weren't willing to do. That's it. Figure out what that is. Figure out if you're willing to get through it, you'll be fine. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. What's this question? Allie Marie, my job search coaching boot camper. When you say the price for life, do you mean I mean my life. I mean as long as I go. Barring any unexpected events, how many more years do you anticipate doing this? Allie, you'll probably, if you can come to my funeral, whenever that is, I will probably be talking at the funeral still. If you want to think in those terms to give you a frame of reference, for those people who are getting into this program, it's $297 a year. Okay, you can compute math if you want. There are other bonuses that there's a small group. You might see some people with Team Apollo hashtags. There are people that are in this lifetime group right now where we are actually next month going to be starting our small group coaching. It's a number of different formats, but I'm trying a number of things out. There are some other bonuses that I don't want to go into. And you can decide if you would like to engage in this, and the best way to do that would be to email us at support@milewalk.com. But I will tell you this, I have no intention of, to be honest with you, this is the program that over time will get the most attention. And if you paid the $2,000 and went in there and spent 1 month and looked at everything in there, you would have more value than your $2,000, I assure you. So I'm not overly concerned by that, but yes, if that's one of the things that you're interested in, and Allie, what you can do is get in for $39 for your boot camper, right? So get in there, check it out, kick the tires, look around, come visit me tomorrow at the session, see if you like it. If you like it, just email me back. You want to switch over to an annual, that's fine. I'll give you that money back. You want to switch to a lifetime? We'll give you that money back. And then we'll just convert you over. It's really great. That's a great question. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you asking, and I appreciate you being a boot camper. Tony P, love to see you, brother. Hopefully you got October, whatever that date is, 22nd? Yeah, whatever that Friday is. Marked on your calendar. See you at Frenchie's, 3 o'clock. Jeff Comstock, how are you, my friend? And baby girl? Mom, Dad, Mrs. Loss, everybody's doing great. Is that L? Does that stand for Lynette? Lynn, I think, maybe? Is that right? How are you? Elian, my boot camper. Yes, what do we got here? Applied to BC for boot camp short, right? Applied to a Big 4 role, OCM, and was rejected by the ATS. Now the firm recruiter inMailed me for a different role. Call scheduled tomorrow. Wait, I love this. Okay, hold on. First off, how are you? I'm good to see you. All right, you went in for a role. You got rejected. The firm recruiter inMailed you, meaning proactively. Call scheduled tomorrow. Goal equals switch to role I applied to. Advice how to best handle. And then you have one other thing here. The other role implies W-2 with benefits, relocation required, relocation assistance, security clearance. Can you explain W-2 with benefits? Why would they offer relocation assistance for such a job? Okay, so couple of things. Let's take these side by side. First thing is, think in terms, I want you to think in chunks. Everybody, chunks. Chunks win life, everything, but we're just going to talk about chunks in relation to this. Your first chunk is, okay, they called you about a role, you make sure you're prepped for that role, and then what you want to do, your first goal is to get on the phone with the recruiter, which you're going to do. Check, okay? The second chunk is, I gotta nail this role and at least get her or him to love me as an overall fit for the company. You need to be focused on the cultural stuff, because if this is a particular organization, right, where there's 2 roles, the culture typically is going to supersede the individual roles except in exceptional situations. So meaning Like the sales team might have one kind of culture where the product development team has a little bit of a different thing going on. But generally speaking, there are going to be certain corporate characteristics. You want to make sure you know those. You want to make sure you crush those. And then you want to make sure that before the call is over, you say, hey, you know what? This is great. I really enjoyed talking to you. I hope you feel I'm a good fit. I'd love to know what the next steps are. And by the way, I want to mention that I did actually submit an application for another position. I immediately got a rejection. I get how those things go. I'd be interested in your thoughts on, is that a possibility for me? And is there any reason that you think that the system would reject me? The person might immediately say to you, oh, the reason you got rejected is because of this. And I know you don't have that, and we need it, or we need more of it, or we need whatever. If that's the case, let it go. If not, if it's I don't know why you got rejected, or I don't see how it's disparate from what you know, tell you what, could you give that some thought? And I want you to know I'm interested in both of these and would love to proceed. The most important thing for me is I want to get in with your organization and I want to add the most value that I can. There are other things about the other position that I do prefer, such as that I would be a full-time employee, and there are some other things that are associated with being a full-time employee or whatever. That's it. Stop. Done. Okay? Unless they take you into that and take you down that path. First thing, plant the seeds. Let them know. Let them figure it out. Let them come back to you. See what happens. Then, when you ask me the second question, this is really a great combo, by the way. Just a fantastic set of questions. Then you say the other role implies W-2 with benefits. Awesome. That means you're full-time resource. You're going to get paid probably healthcare. You're going to get paid healthcare, vacation, and so on. The relocation is required, and so they are going to give you some stipend or cover your expenses or whatever. And when you say, can you explain W-2 with benefits, why would they offer this for such a job? If they're gonna require you to relocate, most companies, not all, will actually pay those relocation expenses. Okay, so when you say why would they offer it for such a job, I would say they would offer that for any job. So it's not just that it's an OC type of job. So I hope that helps. That's a great question. I wish you a lot of luck on that. That's some good stuff right there. Good luck with that. Jim R. Mabuki. Keith, Team Apollo, how you doing? See, now if you join the Lifetime Leadership, you get to put that Team Apollo little hashtag, and Keith is a super dude. And the reason that that's so cool is because there's I think 32 or 33 people in that group, and I think we've got some more coming. But I wanted to name my high-level coaching groups after something orbity, because we are now in each other's orbit. So I decided that the first group is going to be called Team Apollo, and they get special treatment and special benefits. And by the way, all my Team Apolloers, I will personally send you, no charge, a signed copy of one of these books. You don't have to pay anything for it. And I want you to know that. So when I make this available in the very near future, I want you guys to know you're all getting the first, however many books. All right, John Marks, what do we got here, buddy? Good morning to you and the rest of the Milwaukee. Awesome. Petaluma, hope things are going well. It's going to be a scorcher. Great to see you. Mike Elliott, I got the job a month ago and still catch live office hours. You are welcome, my boot camper. Great to see you. All right, L Arch, what do we got here? Let's just put this up real quick. Hopefully you didn't say anything crazy because I just moved that over before I read it. Last week, I had 3 interviews with a company and all went well. One was with the hiring manager and it went long. At the end of the day, he was happy to answer my questions. I know you got something else here. Tomorrow I have a meeting with the boss's boss. It's only 25 minutes. What should I expect? Well, I'm going to tease you here a little bit. If I knew what you should expect exactly, I would be in a different line of work. But I get where you're going with this. What I would say is, in general, as you go up the chain, when you are meeting with more senior people, now you said you had 3 interviews, right? So they went well, hiring manager. I don't know who the other ones were with. Let's assume it was HR or a recruiter or maybe somebody similar to you. If you're going to be meeting with your boss's boss, what I would have loved to know, I realize you only have so many characters to let me know, but it depends where you are in the process, meaning, is this it? So like, all right, 3, I had him, I'm done. I just got to meet the boss's boss and we're good to go. If it's at the end, what's probably going to happen is the boss's boss is going to probably be very generous in answering your questions. That would be my guess. And if that's the case, and here again, not knowing what the process is, but if we're getting to final stages, there's a great likelihood that this person will try to help sell you, because I as a hiring manager never want to send somebody to my boss that I don't absolutely adore, or say, okay, I really feel good. I would appreciate you, kind of looking her over, kind of thing. But a lot of times what's happening is the boss's boss or the senior people they're assuming that the rest of the folks have vetted you appropriately. And so a lot of times they'll even start conversations with, hey, this is great. What questions do you have for me? Now, in the way of expectations, I would just make sure that I had questions where I could drive the whole hour or 30 minutes or whatever it is. Meaning if they did not ask me one question, would I be able to ask them enough questions to never run out? That'd be my first goal. The second goal would be, of the questions that I ask the boss's boss, I want to make sure that they are elevated. Right? Where do you see the company going? What do you see our biggest challenges? How do you feel I could best support your staff, your particular person here who is your direct report, right? Those kind of, what was your evolution in the company? Like stuff that is above, don't be asking about benefits. Don't be asking about specific day-to-day responsibilities in the role. I wouldn't do any of that, right? Because theoretically you should have covered that with the hiring manager and the other people. So that's what I would expect. I have a video out there. I bet Stacy could dig it up for us where, Stace, what the hell's the title? It's about how to interview with senior management, senior level people, senior level executives, and it goes into a little more detail about what I was saying. Now, I don't know what level this person is, but the spirit and the philosophy and the tactics in that video is good for you. And I wish you a lot of luck on that. Flying Uber Tuber, always great to see you. Rob Peterson, good man, Team Apollo guy. Oh, hey Bob, good to see you. And William, oh, Nathan. So wait, right there, Rob, Bob, I mean, those are all leaders right there. Great, great crew. Nathan, how you doing? It's 11 in Fort Worth. It is, because we're on the same clock. And I have an interview at 12. Outstanding. I know I hope that you hear this, because it's 12:07 right now. And I wish you a lot of luck. Elena, what do we got? Hey, Andy, should we ask for LinkedIn rec? Oh, I love anything that starts out like this. Okay. Should we ask for LinkedIn recommendations to bosses and colleagues? What structure and what do you think they would highlight or should highlight? So first thing is, this is kind of Andy's school of recommendation asking. And my boot campers know this because this is what I say. How you write what you write or what you want to write, just write it from the heart. What's the first thing that comes to mind, right? What's the first thing that would come to mind with how I made you feel with working with me? That kind of stuff. And, for them, for your colleagues, for your bosses, doesn't matter. Just say what you want to say. The magic in a LinkedIn recommendation, LinkedIn recommendations, folks, are only powerful from one angle. How many do you have? Okay, so if I actually looked at somebody's, let's say I'm an executive recruiter, which I was, and I looked at the profile as an executive recruiter. I didn't read any of those recommendations. I didn't read one at all, right? What do I know? What I know is that they're going to say nice things, okay? That's right. I don't call references. I don't do none of that stuff. What would I glean? What would really make me feel good? that person has 100 recommendations, that person's loved. That person makes people feel good. That person is probably so coveted to work with. That matters. What's the number? Not what do they say. I know it sounds weird, and you're like, well, Andy, hang on, I want to have... Yeah, you know what? Have them go right with you. So that's what I would say to you. What matters about LinkedIn recommendations? How many of them you have? Why? No one's going to read them all, and it doesn't matter. And if I start reading them, it's like, okay, but I'm going to want to talk to you, right? That's what matters. So what do you think they should highlight? Whatever they want. Honest, that's my dead honest answer. Kurt, my boy, what's going on? Offered a 6-month. Awesome. Good morning to you, my Team Apollo or boot camper and every other thing you are. Exciting news. Offered a 6-month contract to hire a position at a biotech company. Getting ready. Awesome. Get into that career accelerator program and hit the first 2 modules right away. The first 90 days, crushing the first 90 days, and then preparing for your promotion. And the preparing for your promotion, in your case, Kurt, is about how do you convert this, if you want to convert this 6 months down the road or sooner. That's your equivalent of the promotion. Keith, Mr. 97, I know who you are. Keith, you should just change your YouTube handle to Mr. 97. You know, only Keith and I know what the hell we're talking about. And you know what I always say about inside jokes, right? Whoever has the most wins life. Hey, speaking of winning life, I got a trivia question. Let's give some stuff away, can we? All right. In this book, for those of you that have read it, I'll really love you if you get this trivia question. On page Roman numeral 11, XI, in the preface, I wrote something in the preface. I'm going to see if you can get it without the hint. And I would like you to tell me what movie I was referring to in the preface of the Hiring Prophecies. You get this one. I know you're an Andy savant. Okay, so let's try that. Who can tell me what movie I was referencing in the preface, which is on page XI 11 of the intro? It is a 1-page preface. Can you see that? I don't know if you guys can. You know, the focus is a little out. Anyway, what movie was I referencing? I got a good gift for anybody who can tell me that. All right. Deidre Bird, thank you for all the love and support on social media. JD Holmes, how are you? Wait, speaking of social media, if we are not connected on LinkedIn, please connect with me, First Degree. I say this, I try to say this every week. I want to be connected with you. The reason I want to be connected with you, I really appreciate you follow me. A lot of you follow me, which I love and cherish. Except if you follow me and I'm not connected to you and I don't know you're following me, then I can't see what you're circulating and I can't see what you're talking about and I can't see what issues you're facing. And that matters to me because you help me build this channel. You help me build this community through what it is that you need. And that's what I want to support. So I would love to be connected with you. Just send me, say, Andy, hey, I had your live office hours, and at 12:12 you were yapping about how I should get connected to you. That's it. That's all I need. And I also, if you like the video content, in addition to the YouTube channel, which I hope you're subscribed to, and I hope you hit the thumbs up button here. But I also, on Instagram, we put a video or two. I don't know how many we do each day. Monday through Friday. So they're the shorter ones, like the 1 minute to 5 minute ones. And then I tend to put the little longer ones out on YouTube. But if you enjoy that, I'd love to be, hooked up with you on Instagram too. Deb, how you doing, my boot camper? And Aylin, how you doing, my Canadian all-around person? You got everything. Steven, thank you. Tom Phillips, Scott, how are you? Oh, look at all those boot campers right there. Oh my God. Tom Phillips, Scott, Frank, Stephen Green, thank you for the kind email or LinkedIn mail or whatever that was. I appreciated that. Grace Under Pressure, I think we're making you famous. Maybe it's next week or the week after. Julie Simmons, hey to you. Cobby, is it? Oh, folks, okay, if you don't have the free resume template, the CV style, let me get interviews with top companies. I give it away free. And it's not just the template, there's instructions in there. So Kara, can we put the download to the resume template for anybody who does not have that? You should have that. I don't want to sell you a resume template. Take it, it works. I want to sell you a whole new life, right? The resume is only one component. Julie, oh, that's you. Okay. Jonathan, Veron, you're back? Put the question at Tony. No, I got it. Donna, how are you? Steve again. Angel. Set looks great. Claire on the windows. Nathan, I wish I gave that much thought to this. You know what? I think what's most important, and I know this because I get the feedback from you, is just show up. Faith. Actually, you know what? And I would say this to anybody who comes to my live office hours and asks me how you can join my boot camp. The smartest way to join my boot camp is to send an email to support@milewalk.com. Let me see if I probably have it here handy in my support@milewalk.com out here, wherever. And Kara will give you $100 off the base price, the base package. So it's $597. That's what we sell it for year round. And for 5 times a year, we have promotions and we drop the price. But Kara does whatever she can to give you the discounts. Whenever you say, hey, I watched Andy at live office hours, can I get in that program for $100 off? And I'm not looking to gouge you. I want to help you. So I think, that's the way to roll. So Faith, I hope you jump in. And Sherry, how are you? She's in my coaching program and in boot camper too. And MJ, I love Dallas and Rufino from Spain. Thank you for coming. That's awesome. William, what do you got here, buddy? Andy, is it acceptable to accept an, hang on, let's get this up here because we like our guys. Hold on. Andy, is it acceptable to accept an offer for a position contingent on a proposal win, I know where you're going with this, and still continue the job search, potentially bailing on the first offer for something more concrete? Stacy is loving you right now, buddy, because we do not have one of these, okay? So I'm guessing Stacy is blowing her little bazooka horns and confetti. This is a phenomenal question, and if you, meaning you all out there, have no idea what he's talking about, let me tell you. Because we, MileWalk, as an executive search firm, we would occasionally, for really good clients, help them in situations like this. So what does this mean, and how does this happen? So what often happens is 2 types of organizations. This is real common. Consulting organizations that are trying to grow, that want to hire people to put out consultants and deploy their services to their clients, will only hire what they call just-in-time hiring. So what happens is, let's say your consulting company ABC, and you have a contract with PepsiCo. And PepsiCo says, hey, consultants ABC, we'd love to have you bid on this project. They put a bid in, and what happens is, a lot of times, if they don't want to hire the people and commit to hiring them full-time until they actually win the contract. So then when they win, so they're not paying you to have you sit around on the bench or on the beach, we call it, and then you're not sitting there. And then if this falls through, they're not hosed from an expense standpoint. So what they do is they say, hey, William, here you go. Here's a contract. We'll sign it. We'll agree to everything. If when we get this, we're going to turn to you and we're going to have you go and work on that project. That's called a just-in-time hiring. It's a contingent hire upon something external happening that you have absolutely no control over. So they like you, you performed well in the interview process, but you did not get the official, hey, here's your start date until they win. That project falls through. They may just leave you there and say, hey, William, we're sorry, it didn't go through. We'd love for you to kind of stay warm and be interested in us, but we're not sure when the next arrangement is. That's a very common situation. There are other companies like startups or other product development companies or other companies waiting on funding who want to make sure that they can start right away. That's a little less common with those, but it's the same principle. Okay, now that you understand what the situation is, because you had to know that in order for me to, what I'm going to tell them to make sense. So here's what I would do. William, you negotiate everything. Okay, just you do the whole bang, I want more money, I want this, I want a sign-on bonus, I want that. You get all that in order, okay? And then, that's good, we agreed. I'm ready to roll, I'm signing. Now, what that contract, inherent in the spirit of what they're doing is, I get that, you might not wait around for me. You say to them, okay, look, I really want to work for you, but I need to know that this is going to come through in a reasonable amount of time. Try to gauge when it will be. They don't have control. By the way, remember this. You don't have control and they don't have control, right? They can't force their client or their potential buyer to move faster, right? They can't do that. They won't. I mean, it just won't happen. And there's probably other players involved. Okay, sometimes it's an internal thing, but regardless. So the thing that you can do is, number one, can you say, okay, look, I appreciate this. I'm a sign, I like you guys. All right, number two, can you fill me in on the situation? Are we the only horse in the race and it's a matter of internal funding? Are we competing with several other consulting firms? Are we like one of 3 or 5? Like, get the data, right? And that kind of stuff. Then, no matter what, I would never stop interviewing. And I would interview. And then you do one of a couple things. If something actually hits with a company that you like, you either like them more, the same, or less than the contingent. If you like them more than the contingent, I'm out of here, contingent. I'm going there. They're making me a full-time whatever. Okay? That's the first route. Second route is you like them the same or you like them less. You go to them, and right, and you like your full-time the same or less. You go to the contingent and you say, hey, I've got this opportunity. Do you have any update? Can you tell me? Because I can't, and then try to get some dialogue. If they say, look, we're just not sure, then you make a decision based on your risk tolerance and how much you like that other organization. So that's my remark. The short answer, I don't know how long it took me to answer that, but the short answer is it okay to bail on the first offer for something more concrete? Yes. Yes. But how you would go about that is, I think, important for everybody to understand. All right, I hope that helped. And I love that. Okay, we're gonna give both of these people. Okay, so what was the movie? Now, who came in first, Kara? Did they come in at the same time? Did they come in at the same time? All right, Mr. 97. Okay, here's the line in the book. It said, so what the story was that I mentioned that in the fall of 2014, I was watching a TV show. My wife and I were binge watching it, and there was a father-in-law character and a son. And the father-in-law was a John Grisham type novelist who'd written many books. They'd become movies and this kind of stuff. And the son was a struggling teacher, struggling author. At this time, had written a book. And the father-in-law says to him, son, everybody has one book in them, but almost no one has two. Right, and if you're an author, you know whereof I speak, because writing a book and getting it published and all that good stuff is it's a process. And I was writing this. Now, this is my third published book, but it is my second book that I wrote, text heavy, that is a traditional book, and I love this book the most of all of them. But anyway, I put that in the preface, and the show was The Affair, which Mr. 97, I'm assuming that's Mr. 97, got that first. So for you, buddy, I'm going to give you a whole year of the leadership program free of charge. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't think you're in that Kara will tell me, and if you are in that already, then we'll add a year on. But that's the $300. And then Elian was I think second, but Keith was first. But you know what? You guys were so dang close. I'm gonna give you a year as well. So you each get a year. All right, now next trivia. Now this one I put out in the domain. So if you're following me on social, you know this. What was Andy's favorite cartoon as a kid? So let's see who knows that. And let me see if I can give something else away. All right, how about that? That's just great stuff. You guys are awesome. Hoove, how you doing, buddy? All right. And Tanisha, how are you? Good to see you. And Laura Cobb, how you big? You know, everybody laughs at my tan, but when you spend hours in the sun training and running and biking and even swimming, and it's just, there's no way I could do all that without glasses on. Leo, it's a good word. Lulu, how are you? Lulu Perez, could you give me some tips on how to negotiate a salary with a state job? They are sticklers with not budging after they offer a salary. Lulu, the real quick thing, all negotiation tactics apply except that the direction that you're focusing on with state jobs is not the money, it's the level. You need to negotiate the level they bring you in at. You're right, they're sticklers. They don't budge. They have set parameters. A lot of it is time-based, level-based, and so on. So the big tip that I would give you is don't negotiate the money of the level you're in. Negotiate the level you're in. I'm not a G2, I'm a G3, right? You need to focus them up, and you need to point to how the skill sets and skill sets, by the way, actually we're gonna talk about this tomorrow in the hiring talk. Skill sets is a moment in time snapshot of your accumulated abilities to be known as the things you can do the day you walk into the job. That's all those are. Okay, so that's the main thing. What you are arguing is that my skill set at this very moment doesn't put me here, it puts me here. And if it doesn't, then you're gonna have trouble. It's just the way it is with those folks. So I hope that helps. All right, Rob Peterson, it is Speed Racer. I love that. I think it was a Japanese based cartoon, and I just love that thing. What can we give him? Kara, tell me, Rob he's in the boot camp, right? Is he in the leadership program too? I think he might even be in the leadership program. We gotta give him something. All right, can you give me Rob's vitals here. Faith P, you're welcome. Oh man, you gotta get in there. Laura, you're great. All right, Scott, what are we talking about here, buddy? This is extremely difficult to bring up. I was at work yesterday simply adding my jobs to the resume template, and everyone thought the template had too much info and would be thrown to the side. That could be. I don't know. It's not the template. Remember, Andy's template is a template. It's got 5 sections in it, or 4, so whatever it is, right? How much you put into it is up to you, right? The career profile is that long. The career highlights are that long. The career highlights are 6 lines, right? That's it. That's all they are. 3 bullets, 2 lines each, right? Career profiles, 2 paragraphs, 8 lines. It's hardly anything. Then the rest of it is up to you, and how much you put into it is up to you. Without looking at your resume, I can't tell you that, but one thing I would tell you is if it looks thick, it might be thick, but just because somebody says that to you doesn't make it so, okay? Oh, geez, Rob's a boot camper and a lifetime leader. All right, Rob, you know what? We're gonna have to think of something to get you, man, some swag or whatever. Give me some time. We'll get you something though. I promise. Tell me what you want. Actually, you know what? You and I, we're gonna have you get a free coaching session with me. as part of this, and we'll talk about whatever gifts I can give you. All right, I'm just buzzing on down here. Come on, try to get another one. The interview, Aylin, is there a question there? Okay, wait, because I need to get her in because she's one of my favorite people and a lifetimer. And in case you guys don't know, Aylin and I are twinsies because we both have that shirt and we both have that coffee mug, which is pretty awesome, by the way. All right, Aylin, the interview was going well, but long, over 40 minutes, which was to be cut off. And they asked me if I had any questions. Because we were over, I said no, how to recover. Trying to follow up and ask. Okay, so first thing is, and you already know this, but just for everybody here, never say no. You never say no, I don't have any more questions. That ends flat. I have a lot more questions, but I realize we're running out of time. So then you ask whatever you want to ask. Wait, oh, there's more info. Hang on, Kara's giving me the rest. Trying to follow up and ask more info regarding the above. I already reached out to the big boss, right-hand man, who knows my skill set. Currently preparing my questions in writing. Do not send. Hoping to be able, do not. Okay, wait, I'm glad you sent that. All right, first thing. There's multiple issues here. First one is, for any of you, no matter who you're talking to, you always have more questions. I don't care if you don't have more questions. You always have more, okay? So you need to make sure that you have enough. I give you a booklet. If you get, well, it's hiding behind there, but you get the interview intervention free book, the free book for $7, materials and handling, because, you know, the warehouse guy's got to pick it and pack it in the envelope and all that stuff, but I send it to you. There's 39 great questions to ask in the book, but we also give you an ebook with 75 great questions to ask. How to interview the employer, 75 great questions to ask before you take any job. You will never run out of questions, so don't ever run out of questions. That's first. Second thing is, when prepped with that, or faced with that question, like she was, knowing they were over time, what I would have said is, I know we're running long. I want to respect your time. I do have questions. There's no need to rush these. Can we revisit at another time where I could ask those to you? That's what, and then if they would have said, I would prefer, okay, put them in an email and send them, then I would have said, well, there's several, I don't want to put them in an email. I prefer not to put them in an email. And you know, based on your answers to some, I might not have questions to others. I think it would be better if we spoke live. Now, to respect your time, if you'd like, I could break up the questions and maybe get a few minutes with different people. You do not want to email them the questions, ever. Don't email any questions to anyone other than logistical stuff. And you just, so number one, you don't want to end on a flat note. You always want to have more, but you can gracefully exit, and that's the way to roll there. When given an opportunity to send the questions, do not send the questions for many reasons. Number one, you can't have any dialogue about it immediately. Number two, how you say what you say matters. And when I'm with you, I can give you intonation, right, inflection, the words I want, which I obviously could type, but you can't see my posture, my tone, or any of that, my body language, or any of that. And I need to make sure you don't misinterpret what I'm saying. So if I can't do that in an email. The other thing is, what goes through your head goes through your head only, not the other person's. The other person's interpretation of why you want to know what you want to know is based nothing on why you might want to know it. It's based on how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, my experience, my speculation as to why she wants to know this, and so on. And the other thing is how they read it and the mood they're in. It sounds like that in your head and you didn't mean anything mean by it, and there was no ulterior motive or any of that stuff, except that when they read it, what if they've had a long day and so on? And then to boot, right, to boot, you now are giving them another task. And there's no way I would be able to type all my questions. So I don't want to add more workload to you. So there are so many things monumentally wrong with emailing your questions. The part about their interpretation of why you want to know, and like I always say to people, if you type an email and it sounds all sweet in your head and then you send it to somebody, before you send it, you should print it, read it in your meanest voice. And if you're okay with that, then you can send it, right? Like no one is going to hear it the way it sounds in your head. And they might need more information and all that good stuff. And you don't want to be going back and forth. So how to recover. I didn't want to ask you the question. So what I would have done, I didn't want to ask you the questions. I would love to set up additional time to do that, but I would not email them. I really wouldn't. So in the follow-up, for any of you that get in this situation where you are feeling like Aylin is feeling here, then I would just say, I would just love to set up additional time. And don't you worry, because if they get down to the end and they want to hire you and you don't have all your questions asked, there's not a company in the world that won't give you the time for you to do that. Just say, hey, you know what, I have questions. I prefer to talk to them live. Talk to the recruiter. Say, hey, I could ask you some. Or the hiring official, say, hey, this might be appropriate for these people or those people. So that's the way I would roll. I would roll there. All right, I hope that helps. I'm sorry to hear about that situation, but see if you can recover that way. All right, wait. So Rob Peterson, I owe you something. We'll take care of you, buddy. Don't you worry. I gotta get you something. And let me see. I'm a little over today. All right, folks. So real quick. We got loads of stuff coming up in the next month. It's pretty cool. But tomorrow, we got the hiring class in the leadership program. Can't make it, don't worry about it. You get the replays. And then we come back July 16th. But the entire week of July 12th through 16th, we got something planned for you guys, which is going to be pretty cool. But anyway, and then if we're not connected on LinkedIn, get connected. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do. If you haven't clicked the thumbs up button, please do. If you haven't found me on Instagram, please do. I'm on all the other platforms too. I just love being connected on social. And what am I forgetting? Am I forgetting anything? If I didn't get to your question, put it in the comments underneath this video. It's going to live forever on YouTube. All right, you guys be good. Have a great weekend. My leaders, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care. You guys be good.